Okay, so yes, we would like our members will have the great topic about developer. So yes, Naseath san, please share. Thank you.
So I can start now.
Yes, you
Okay.
can start now.
Okay. So you see my screen.
Yes, I see.
Okay, good. So let's start. And so today we will share about how to become a better developer. Uh, 1 year ago, I was not a developer, and now I joined the developer team, and I have been always trying to be better in the subject. Uh, so today actually it's not a lecture. It's only about the discussion and sharing the experience. And it's all about discussion and sharing. It's not about teaching. uh, so let's break this thing into 3 aspects. And so that's what developer normally do. Normally, we always break things. It's not about crash. It's about break. It's different. It's like we have big thing, and we break it into small, so we can deal in each piece of the big things. So now let's break things. Uh, so we will talk about code, and we will share about mindset, and we will share about the routines. So let's start with code. But actually, we are talking about developer. But I just want to share in the beginning that most of this talk has not contains any coding. There's no coding in this presentation, but in our role, it's about how to be a better developer. But actually, there's no coding in this presentation. So I think to be better in the as a developer or as a programmer, we need to know maybe 2 or more programming language. Why? Because the more programming language we know, the better we are at solving the problem. The better we are at the techniques, the methodology to solve the problem. Because different way of different programming language has different way of solving problem. So when we know more, we also know more methodology to solve the problem. So it's better not to just stick with one, 2 or more. And also, when we learn a programming language, we have to understand that the fundamentals are important. So no rush, no rush. Make sure we learn the fundamental, like the variable declarations, syntax, data types, flow control function, how to debug, because the fundamental it's like the tree, the beautiful of the tree is the leaf, the branch, but the leaf and the branch can grow stronger and more beautiful. It depends on the foundation, the fundamental. So it's the same for programming language. If we like to intimidate with the framework, and we done work hard on the core, then it can be difficult when we build a bigger project, because everything here is built based on the foundation, the fundamental. So it's good to understand more about the fundamental and no rush. And also we have to always communicate crystal clear, and no assumptions. So the difference between the clarity is maybe assumption. So we have to be clear with the things that we are doing, and always make no assumptions. And it's also part of that. So we have to understand the problem that we are going to solve. So if we have a task or a problem that we need to solve, we need to make sure that we understand the problem and the expected result that we have to produce, because when we understand exactly the problem and the expected result, so that we can build the product or the feature like according to what is expected, because we can lose time if we solve the different like we solve different problem than what the user expect. And also, if possible, we should also share the journey of the user. What does it mean, share the journey of the user? It means we have to understand the business of the client, because if we understand the business of the client, then it's like we can build the application. Maybe we can also give like suggestion to the client what can be done better if we understand the business of the client, the journey of the end user. And also, when we are talking about code, good code, not just work. It should be simple, and it should be thoughtful or meaningful. It should be also maintainable, and we should also think about the lifespan of the code. The longer the lifespan is, the better. What does it mean? It means that our code will be used by the client and also our team member, so that people can like see it in simplicities, and if they have to adjust, they can adjust it. They don't like, if they want to refactor, they like if the code is not simple enough, then maybe people just want to rewrite the code again and not reuse the existing one. So it's better to make it simple, meaningful, maintain, and have a long lifespan. Because if we just write code to finish the task and not think about the lifespan, it's not a really good code. So more. So as the developer, we should also be like comfortable with error mistake, and because error mistake is the first place to look when the code doesn't behave the way we expect it to. So when we see error mistakes, we have to consider that the error mistake is the friend. The error mistake is like the personal advisor. Error mistake is not the enemy. It's not our enemy. It's our personal advisor, because the error mistake is what tell us what is wrong with the application, where is wrong, which line is wrong, which function or class is wrong. So we have to view the error mistake as a friend, a personal advisor. So you have to be comfortable and to be friend with the error mistake. And also to take error mistake seriously. When we have some issue with the application, the error mistake come, take it seriously. Don't just pass it and yes, don't just pass it and don't take the error message seriously. We have to take error message seriously. And also, we have to learn to Google in effective way. So, as a developer, actually, we spend the most of the time doing things that we don't know. We don't know by heart. So Google, Stack Overflow, and other informative website, we have to be friend with that, and we have to search in a way that is effective. So how to search Google effective? If we are working on some specific language, when we search, we have to include the language that we want to search. For example, if we work in Django, then we have to say like Django, and then what do we want to search. If we are working on Ruby, and then what do we want to search. We have to use well-defined keywords, and when we get a result, we also need to know which results are more likely to be helpful, because sometimes we get the result and we get many results. So we need to know which one is more helpful. Actually, it need time. It needs some time to familiar with the technique, but by time we will learn more and understand more yeah, how to do this thing. And also we need to read and understand the technical documentation, because every language, every framework, there are official documentation. So we need to frequently go to the official documentation, read and understand the document. Actually, when we learn about something, normally we go to Google, we go to YouTube, but we also have to know that all the language or the framework have their own official documentation. So we can also always refer to that and read that documentation. And after we be friend with the error mistakes, Google, and read the documentation. So in some case, we maybe still need to stay back and ask for help from somebody from our team member or from the somebody. And when we ask, we need to make sure that we ask good question. It's really important to ask a good question. The question, so what is good question? Good question is the question that is informative. The question that we don't just ask. We have tried. We have already tried read the error message. We have already tried Google. We have already tried read documentation, but we still have no solution. So it's time to ask question, and the question should contain informative, like the people who answer the question, they can easily understand the questions and get to the points quickly. So yes, it's like try to ask a question that is a good question. Because it's like when I was young, when I was study at high school, my teacher used to tell me that understanding the question, it's like 50% of the answer. So it's important to also understand the question by ourselves, that we want to raise the question. We have to understand the question and asking it in a way that is easy to understand for the one that will be answered. And I also heard from the important business people, they also say that the difficult part is the question, and actually answer is the easy part. So when we ask question, we make sure that we gather all the necessary information and try something, not just ask the question directly. And also we have to test the code. This is also important, because if we do not test the code, we maybe ship bad code into production. So it's very important to test the code. Actually, there are many different way and technique to test the code using the code level. So use the code to test the code. But actually, in our company currently, we don't apply any of them. So it's like unit test, user acceptance test, functional test. There are many tools and many techniques. When we have time, maybe we should also try and apply. Actually, we also test our code, but normally we test manually. We test the code manually. So we test the syntax, we test the like the feature, we test like design and like how user can interact, and like if the result is really work, really function as we expect. And normally we test manually. So if we have time, maybe it's better to try use the code to test the code. So okay, now we go into the second aspect. Let's talk about the mindset. So what are the mindset that a developer should have to be a better developer? Actually, this is not everything that we need to know, but it's some part of them. And one thing, I think as a developer, we should be curious. we should be curious. So why? Because people with curiosity, they always want to know. They always want to learn more, to know more, to know the detail. So it's the way that we can grow. So the more we know, the more we learn, the more we understand, the more we can tackle more issue and solve more problem, more difficult problem in the right way. So it's always better to be curious as the children. Actually, it's by nature people born with curiosity, but because of some situation, we may be like lack of some curiosity because of the responsible, because of the environment, because of the time. So we have to yes, we have to back to our childhood and stay curious, especially in the technology field. That we have many different technology and many details thing. And but I also want to say that about be curiosity. Curiosity does not mean that we want to know everything. It's not mean that we want to know all. It means that we have to be curious on some specific subject and try to learn the detail about some specific. Not it's like it's better to know more, but not too curious about everything. Then we may not have enough time. And also, it's better for a developer to be a scientist mindset. So what is that mean? As a scientist, they always do the experiments, combines different things together, explode and try again, and see what work, what not work. Also, we have to learn to decompose. Decompose means that us what we are doing, we break big thing into smaller pieces so that we can deal with each piece. It's easy to because when we have a big problem, we cannot just solve the big problem. We have to break the problem into smaller pieces and deal with each one of them. So that's decompose thing. And the scientists, they all like think in terms of algorithmically, think in terms of methodology, think in terms of like chef recipe. So we see things as one piece, try experimenting and see what work, what not. And also we have to develop a growth mindset, because people with growth mindsets, they always want to learn more, and normally they view obstacle in different perspective. They view like the difficulty as the opportunity to learn. So we have to develop the growth mindset. And also we have to be friend with books and pen, because why? Because the more that we write thing by hand, the more the brains will be connected to that thing. So we can think better when we write things by hands on the book. So we need to be like more friends with books and pen. Even we are software engineer or anything, it's always better to come back to books and pen actually. Okay, and one more thing is we have to focus and learn to get into flow state faster. So what is the flow state? Flow state is like the period that our performance reach to the peak performance. So when we like super focus on doing some things and everything is like just get into that state of doing something in the best the performance, that's called flow state. So some people may say that get into the zone or flow state. It's like normally if we, for example, if our ability, our skill is good and the task is too easy, then people can get into the state of boring because we are too smart and the task is too easy. And if we are not so smart and the task is too difficult, then people can get into the states of stressful. So flow state is when our skill is good and the task is a little difficult. So it's like we are like getting to matching with each other. So we want to do it and we want to succeed, and that's yeah, that's what when people get into a flow state. So we will focus all the things to do that in the best way. So we have to focus and yeah, learn to get into the flow state faster. And at the end, we also need to understand that being a programmer is not about just writing code. It's all about solving problem. Actually, coding could be the last step in the process. Oh, okay, we can reach the 10. So the last aspect is about routine. We are talking is about routine. So we, at the end, we also have to take care of our health. So we have to get enough sleep. But this is always the difficult things for, I think, maybe it's always the difficult for developer, because when we are addicted with doing something that we love, we don't want to stop. So, but still, we need to take ourselves out and try to check our battery and get enough sleep. Because when we get enough sleep, we recharge our power and we can go back to work with a full energy and intelligence. So try to get enough sleep, like 8 hours or maybe at least 7. But it's always like easy to say than done. So it's easy to just say, but we have to try. And Also, we have to exercise regularly because exercise will make us healthy, and the people who is healthy will always like perform better uh, when we are healthy. Uh, and actually, there are many forms of exercise. But for me personally, I like walking because walking is the easiest style of sport that we can do. We don't need a team. If we want to play soccer or volleyball, we need a team. But walking, we can just take the boot and go just alone. And also because walking doesn't hurt. If we play soccer or other sport, it can accidentally small hurt in case, but walking is never hurt. And it's also cheap. We can just buy a pair of shoe and we can always walking. And yes, so there are many forms of exercise. We can do whatever we like. And actually exercise is not only about our heels. I also used to listen to people from Harvard heels department. They also said that walking will give you the energy. If if we if we think in terms of maybe if we look at how we walk immediately, we may say that we spend energy, but in reality, walking give us energy. It gives us more energy. It's not only about it's only not only about the healthy. It also give us more energy. It give us more it's like give us more intelligent and sharp brain. So maybe I illustrate things like this. Why we have to exercise regularly? Because actually there's no scientific proof, but based on experience, I think that our brain it's like the light bulb. It's like the light bulb, and by default, it's not really it's not it's bright, but it may have like some things that cover the brain. So when we do exercise and when we sweat, it's like we remove all the things that is blocked. So it becomes brighter, and we can have like more sharp mind and intelligent. So we can think like straightforward and sharp. And it's not just for here; it's also for our professionals. Like the founder of Singapore, I also used to listen to Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. He said that as the highest decision maker people, we have to always stay fit. If we are not fit, then we can make a mistake. We can easily make mistake. So we have to stay fit, exercise actually, make sure that our brain is sharp, so that we can think straightforward, or at least we make less mistake. And yes, and that's all. Thank you. So, you have any comment or discussion?
Yes, first, thank you very much for this great presentation and great topic. Yes, it's not a question, just a comment. I really strongly agree with that concept about no assumption in the code section, because sometimes if we don't understand the whole process, or let's say the system, how system works and how system should work, then we can understand what is the problem, and we can understand why the problem happens. But if we just give up to understand everything and just skip understanding, just assume, it might be like this, then we always make a mistake. From my experience, very important thing, it's a really important thing to understand, try to understand at least. And if try to understand first, then if we understand once, we never forget. We can always have a appropriate way to fix any issue on that system or on that project. I just want to say I found many things to agree in this presentation, but the most impressive thing was that.
Thank you.
Yes, that's all.
Thank you. So if you have no more comment, maybe we can just finish this session.
Okay, great. This is really great. Developer. So right now I am developer and you also the developer. It is really great. So how about if a person wish to be a developer? So what require or what skill should they take to become the developer? As their first time or first experience of programming or coding, could you give any suggestion? What should they start? Because I because at the time I went to one university and they like wish something, they write on the paper and they put it on the tree and they said like I want to become a developer. So that is the reason I asked the question, like what should they take or where should they start, because they have no idea. So what is take to become the developer? Yeah.
Okay, so actually this topic is not talking about how to become a developer. It's about how to be a better one, but it's also okay to talk about how to become a developer. So when I start, I think what you should start is to pick one language. So to pick one programming language and try to like start from the basic, learn the syntax, the basics, and so it's like try to pick one, start with one, learn one programming language and try to understand and like make a to-do list app with that one language that you learn, because to-do list app is how you learn to do all the create, update, list, delete feature in that language. And also be patient. As a developer, you have to be patient, and also you have to love what you do, because in the way you may meet some challenge, some situation that you cannot solve immediately. You need to spend time, so you have to be patient at the same time, because if you meet an issue and you just want a quick solution and you don't find, and you have no patience, then it's yeah, it's not how it should work. So like that, yeah. Pick one language, learn from the basics, make a to-do app, and on the way, be patient.
Okay, thank you so much, and it's really useful answer because this video is going to be public. So if any user or viewer can watch it, it's going to be useful. Thank you. Okay, everyone. So is there any question or comment you can?
Hello, Naseath. I just have the one question about the like as a developers or the programming about the one of the technique is the works breakdown structure. Yes, it you always or the our developer team always use it for the work breakdown structure. Do you know about the work breakdown structure?
Yes, we call it decompose.
We are is it we using in our real project right now? We are you always use this technique, or it is not?
Actually, we don't have like regulation or a rule or a standard in place for this work breakdown, or we call it decomposition. So we don't have like in place standard procedure to use that method. But personally, I always do that when we have when like if we have just a small problem to solve, we don't need the technique. We can just jump in and solve. But if the problem is big and complicated, we have to break it into smaller. We have to break into smaller and start with one piece like that. But actually, we don't have like a standard or procedure in place to use that method. But personally, I always do like that when we have like a task that we don't understand, or a bigger issue that it's hard to solve. It's like this, so we have to break things smaller. And it's always better to like when we have some situation. So yeah, it's always better. And also it's like it gives us a feel of accomplishment, a feel of achievement, because if we have big tasks and we try to solve the big task, it's like it's never finished, the task never finished. But when we break the big task into smaller tasks and we do it piece by piece, then we will feel that now we finish one piece, two piece, three piece, four piece. So it gives us a feel of achievement, a feel good, like we have finished one piece, two piece, three piece, like that. At the same time, it's like additional things regarding that.
Yes, thank you for your answer. Yes, I think it's really great for the work in the team. Yes, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you too for the question.
Okay. Okay. Is there any question? We can have like one more question. Okay. So, personally, which is the very first language you study about programming?
Uh, Recently, I start with Python. Python. It's not because actually it's because in our company we have a project with that use Python, so I start with Python because it's matched with our with our daily operation.
That is really great. Okay. Thank you so much for your answer. Okay. By the way, thank you so much for joining today, and it's the great presentation from Mr. Naseath. Really great. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Yes, bye.
Bye. Bye.